Welcome to Golf Industry Guru and the Gig Podcast, where we interview the best and brightest golf and hospitality leaders on the planet. On today's episode, you will learn some proven real-world solutions that'll help you and your team solve some of your biggest golf business challenges. So stick around for some tips, tools, and training to get you, your people, and your business powered on. Here's your host, James Kronk.
I'm excited. What can I say? I'm ready.
Yes, you are ready. And I'm ready. And welcome to the Gig Podcast. And here we are with Gregg Patterson, club manager extraordinaire, Tribal Magic, 34 years at the Beach Club. Gregg, it is fantastic to have you here. Is your lovely wife Elaine with you and in the house right now, helping you take care of all your business?
James, Elena is in the house. She's doing Pilates at the moment. And because of the Pilates, she's the queen of love.
Yes. Well, I have had the pleasure of, Gregg, of you and Elena and seeing many parts of the world, traveling around in conferences. Normally we're in person and we're talking live at this time of the year. We're normally in some far off place in the world, sharing the buzz and the love and the glow.
But, you've learned well.
Yes. Well, I have the unfortune of often following Gregg on stage, and I can tell you for a speaker, that is not what you want to be doing. But here we are doing a virtual podcast, Gregg, and it's wonderful to hear you and to chat with you, and thanks for giving us some time.
Happy to do it. Looking forward to the conversation.
And we're going to talk today about leadership. You know, it was you and I both know, stuck in our home offices, doing virtual Pilates or whatever else you might be doing. It's a new world with COVID. It's a new world with we just finished coming to the end, I guess, of the 2020 year. And I'm fascinated to hear from you about what you've witnessed in this last kind of 6, 7, 8 months about leadership. You do so much work and conversations and chatting with club managers in the world, all over the world in different parts. What are the things that you've learned from this whole experience?
Well, the most important thing I've learned is that good leaders are flourishing in a time of crisis such as now. And the ones that don't have those leadership skills are being passed by the wayside. There's a lot of leadership turnover right now. A lot of managers are losing their jobs. One of the things I'm looking at in 2021, I was talking to some headhunters the other day. I said, what is one of the things that you're looking for in the managers you're about to hire or recommending? An established track record of creativity during a time of crisis. Huge issue. And a lot of managers out there say, oh, we are secretaries. You tell us what to do and we'll do it. And they do it very well. But during a time of crisis, that ain't what you want from a leader. The fact of the matter is now you need that creativity and the ability through your example to carry that club and that staff and that membership into the future. And I'm finding out right now that a lot of managers ain't got the goods.
Well, you and I, both know that the longevity of a manager at a club is tenuous at the best of times.
Absolutely.
And I heard a great discussion the other day talking about the challenge of club managers being in a club, trying to appease, their 800 different bosses. Mm. And so being creative sometimes can cause, some waves to go right when you're creative. So how do you balance that? How do you balance being creative and also creating energy, but also keeping the egg salad sandwich at 25 cents on Sundays?
Well, first of all, creativity with every manager is a continuous, incremental, and forever process because things change. So change means creativity, but change needs change management. And one of the problems is that managers haven't been instructed. There are very few classes except mine on how to manage change. People talk about, we're going to do change and this and that. And I hear all this blubbering going on. But I said, what are the tactics you're going to use to make sure that change sticks? And that's a big thing. How do you make change stick? And I find that the key to the whole thing is not creativity. You have to have that because that is where the ideas for change come from. But you have to communicate. To me, the communications are the absolute key. And a lot of managers haven't been well versed in the skill sets needed to be an effective communicator.
What do you think is the key to being an effective communicator? What would be some of the best practices, I guess, that you would share with a manager on how to improve their communication when it comes to things like that?
First of all, know what you're talking about absolutely and completely. Know it inside and out. Do your frequently asked questions. Know the stuff better than anybody else. Write your white papers. Do your debriefs each day. Write up your notes. Put your ideas into your idea bank so that you are the fountain of ideas. All of a sudden they come to you. It's like, boom, I've got the ideas. And that excitement obviously helps people move in a direction where they believe you. Because that's what trust comes down to. There is an intangible in trust and there's a tangible. Tangible, he said he was going to do it. Did he do it? And afterwards, did he tell it? That's great. But the other thing is, do they believe you as a leader? Do you have the qualities that make you a believable person? And what are those qualities? So that's a huge part of this whole leadership issue. And so that skill set. So if you're talking about how do you move people in that direction, know everything that you're talking about. Love what you're talking about. This is absolutely critical. Number 2, I'd say. 1, know what you're talking about. Love it. Like if you talk to me about clubs, I love clubs. So anybody who talks to me doesn't have the love of club I have. Simple as that. So I know what I'm talking about, both on the specific level in my club, and I know on the general level in clubs in general. I love it. And then what I want to do is to channel the love. Because people want to hear that. They want to hear that you know what you're talking about, love what you're talking about, and that you can communicate it effectively. There are 3 steps to it. So once you've done that, then you talk about how do you use that to nudge people in the right direction, like the board of directors, the members, and the staff. 3 groups that every manager deals with, right? Or owner instead of a board, but it's the same thing. Now, what I've always said is that as an activist club manager, understand that's what they paid me the big bucks for, is to be the activist. My job is to nudge them. And what do you mean by nudge? To influence those who make decisions. Like I'm an administrator, but I influence policy decision at the board. How do you influence those who make decisions to make decisions consistent with your vision of the good? Now, some managers say, oh, that's so arrogant. I said, look, that's what they pay you the money for. You're the pro. Let me give you the background because I know what I'm talking about. I love what I'm talking about, and I can convey the message. So when you talk about moving, and there are all sorts of tricks, and what do you write? How do you speak? What do you do? Obviously, we could go into that at great length, but that's the key thing right there. Do you know what you're talking about inside and out so that when somebody talks to you, they feel your love and you are able to articulate it clearly? Like if I had a camera, I'd like to go into a finance committee meeting, put the camera up, and I want to see how the manager conveys to all these guys that were educated at Stanford and Harvard and Yale and their business schools, because my experience was, because those are the people I had on my finance committee, they don't even look at the numbers. They give you the look. And they say, does this guy know what he's talking about? Does he love what he's talking about? And can he articulate it to us? Anyway.
Well, and I think they want to be successful, right? I mean, they want you to make decisions that makes their committee look good, to makes the board look good, to make the president look good.
Well, one of the things that I hear this from managers all the time, particularly now when people are losing their jobs, they say, oh, the board's trying to micromanage me. And I said, dude, they only micromanage you if you ain't doing your job. Yes. So the first thing I tell managers, you got to be competent, dude. You know, business is job one. You got to do that. But no board member wants to spend their weekends, worrying about financials. They say, we've got Gregg here. He's under control. Let us articulate what he's already told us. Again, and I hear this all the time. Oh, the board, they started micromanaging. I said, dude, that says a failure on your part, which is a terrible thing to say, but it is. Managers don't want to hear that. They want to always blame somebody else. I said, dude, personal responsibility. What did I do wrong? How do you articulate it? So fill in the holes, because if you don't fill the holes, that vacuum will be filled by the board of directors. You in trouble, dude.
And do you think, Gregg, so with COVID and this past season, I mean, obviously golf is up all over the world from a participation standpoint. Who'd have thought a pandemic would increase the rounds of golf? But that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's happier. And that, I know clubs where members can't get a tee time and they want to play 6 days a week. And now, there's no guests, there's no outside play. The club's losing money in banquets. There's all kinds of challenges there. And I guess those are the things that are causing this strife for some of the club managers that did not handle things well, that obviously, like any